COLTure Uncut. This is COLTure Uncut. This is COLTure Uncut. I am your host, Jason Spears, and Colt fans, we've got a lot to talk about.
This is COLTure Uncut. I am your host, Jason Spears, and folks, it's finally here. The bye week is over. It's time for the Colts and the Broncos, and I'm really excited about this one because this has everything on the line. I think our playoff hopes and everything that comes with that, but also, Denver's playing for something too. So this is going to be a huge game. I'm really pumped for it. I'm excited. The Colts travel on Sunday to Empower Field at Mile High to take on the 8-5 Denver Broncos on a 3-game winning streak, while the Colts come into the game 6-7, having won 2 out of 3 since Anthony Richardson has returned. So it's an excellent matchup. It's not the sexy matchup of the week. The 425 Buffalo Detroit game will be that, but for us Colt and Bronco fans, which there's probably mostly Colt fans hopefully listening to me, this is the game we're going to be focused on, and the weather should be good. We should be getting healthy. Based on the injury reports, we will have everyone but, let's see, Ashton Doolin, and I think a couple guys are questionable. Josh Downs, I think, is going to play. Mo is going to play. Ryan Kelly is questionable. I don't know if him playing is even good. And then Braden Smith, man, whatever. I don't have any insight, and I haven't checked on what's going on with Braden. That's personal stuff. But whatever it is, man, it seems pretty serious. So whatever that is, my thoughts are with him and his family. Hopefully whatever is going on can be fixed and healed in some way. I don't know what it is. I just hope whatever it is isn't too serious or isn't life and death, and it can be overcome, because Braden is a big part of what the Colts do offensively. But more than that, he seems like a great guy, and he's got a family, and we just wish the best for everyone. So my thoughts are out for Braden Smith. And also, this isn't Colt related, but if you guys follow the NFL, Randy Moss has opened up about his cancer battle and the surgery that he had. This hits really close to home with me. I've definitely been through some stuff with my family and people close to me. I don't want to get too personal, but that's a battle that I've seen a lot of people go through, and it's not an easy one. So if you guys are religious at all, or just whatever, could you, I would hope you would send good vibes and good thoughts to Randy Moss, another guy that, he went through some trouble as a younger guy, like most of us do, but he's turned out to be a really good family man, knows the game, and was a hell of a player. So I wish all the best to Randy Moss and his family, and I hope he gets well soon. So I wanted to kind of say that before we get too far into this preview, because those are things that are much more important than a simple football game. So I hope you guys are ready. I hope our Colt fans are excited, because this is going to be an interesting game. I've looked at a lot of the stats, watched them a little bit, and they're very well coached. Obviously, Sean Payton does a great job. They're very disciplined, very solid football team. It's going to be a task. The Colts are going to have to play their best game, in my opinion, to win on the road in this environment against this team. They're getting better as the year has gone on, Denver, that is. And so it's going to be a very, very tough task, but doable. So let's get into this preview, and I'll break down the personnel, the numbers, and my keys to the game, which there are many. First of all, let's get into the Denver offense, coordinated by Joe Lombardi. The offense is 13th in the NFL, averaging 24 points per game. Their rush offense is 20th in the NFL, and their pass offense is 21st. They're 18th in third down percentage and 16th in turnovers. So mid-range back end for most of it, but the most important part, points per game, 13th. So getting into their personnel, everybody knows quarterback, rookie, Bo Nix, 2,842 yards passing, 17 touchdowns, 8 picks, 304 yards rushing, and 4 touchdowns, 2 game-winning drives. He's only been sacked 19 times, so that the Colts are going to have to find a way to get pressure on him, or he will pick them apart. They've got a two-headed monster at running back with Javonte Williams, who's got 446 yards, 4 touchdowns, also 38 receptions out of the backfield, 259 yards, and then also Jaleel McLaughlin, 367 yards, a touchdown, 17 receptions, 47 yards, and a touchdown. So that two-headed running back monster is going to have to be slowed down, whether that's in the run game or the pass game. These guys are productive, and so, we're going to have to really, really be on it as usual, and really focus on their playmakers, because they have a few of them and they can make plays and make you pay. Getting into the receivers, they have quite a few guys that have made an impact on the game, but the big guy that stands out to me is Courtland Sutton, 63 receptions, 846 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And the thing about Sutton is he's so big and physical that you can play him perfectly and the ball could still be put up in the air and he can take it away from you. So he's a tough cover for anybody, and he's going to be a tough cover for us. And then you look at the other receivers that they have. Devon Vile is their number 2, I think, on the outside. And then you've got Marvin Mims in the slot, along with Lil Jordan Humphrey, Troy Franklin, and then their tight ends are Adam Troutman and Lucas Kroll, who aren't super productive, but man, I always worry about tight ends against our defense. So those are some guys to keep an eye on with their offense, Troutman and Kroll, just because you don't know what our defense is going to do or how they're going to cover tight ends, because they're not very good at it. But as far as the receivers, the standout again is Courtland Sutton, and then the other guys are young, fast guys that can make. Mims especially is a playmaker especially in special teams. Franklin's coming along; he's starting to get better. So they've got some players here on offense. They're not super explosive, but they do have talent, and they're coached very well. And, the biggest thing for me is their offensive line does an outstanding job of blocking in the run game and taking care of Nix in the pass game, because he's only been sacked 19 times. That's crazy. That's barely, over once a game. So there's a lot. There's not a lot of sexy names on this offense, but they get the job done. They've gotten to 8-5. They're 13th in points per game, and they're going to be a tough out. The Colts are going to really have to bring it and play well. So that's their offense. Their defense is much, much better than their offense. The defense is second in the league, 18 points per game. Vance Joseph coaches that team, and he's done an outstanding job. They're 20th in pass defense. They are 6th in rush defense, which is not a great matchup for us. 16th, so about middle of the pack on third down percentage, and 8th in forcing turnovers. So they feed off turnovers, get the ball back to their offense. So that's going to be, like it is every week. You can't give this team extra offensive possession, so the Colts have to make sure they take care of the ball. Now, getting into their defensive personnel, it's really good. Start with outside linebacker Nick Bonito, 36 tackles, 11 sacks, 13 tackles for loss, and 19 quarterback hits, 1 forced fumble, and 1 pick for a touchdown. So he's a big-time player. Both of their outside linebackers really are. The other outside linebacker, Jonathan Cooper, 49 tackles, 8 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 14 quarterback hits, and 1 forced fumble. And probably the best player on this defense outside of their corner, Surtain, is Zach Allen, left defensive end. And he is got 47 tackles, 5 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, 25 quarterback hits, 1 safety. He gets to the quarterback a lot. So the Colts are going to have to do a really good job on him and not let him wreck the game. And then inside, they've got Cody Barton's got 82 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 2 quarterback hits, 1 forced fumble that he returned for a touchdown. So when these guys pick the ball off or force a fumble, they take it to the house. So the Colts have got to take care of the ball. Again, that's an obvious one, but not only there's one thing to turn somebody over, it's another thing to turn somebody over and immediately turn it into points via taking that turnover into the end zone for a touchdown. So that takes us to in my opinion, one of the best corners in the game, Pat Surtain. The second, 31 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 9 passes defended, 3 interceptions, 1 return for 100 yards. He's one of the best corners in the game, and you try to stay away from him if you can, because he's a big time player, and he's not somebody you want to test overly too much, because at some point you're going to make a mistake and he's going to make you pay. They've really got a ton of talent on this defense. At nose tackle, they've got DJ Jones. Inside linebacker, they've got Justin Strnad. Strong safety, they've got Brandon Jones, who leads them, is tied in tackles. I think he has 82 tackles, along with Cody Barton. Free safety, PJ Locke. Their nickel is Jaquan McMillan, who's done a really good job. And then Jonathan Franklin Myers, I think, has 14 quarterback pressures and 5 sacks or something like that. He's their right defensive end. So they've got their front seven's really good. They're going to be without Riley Moss, their second boundary corner. So Levi Wallace will be starting for him. That would be the guy with the bullseye for me. Whether he's covering, hopefully the Colts can set it up so he's covering Pierce, because that is a matchup where, if I remember correctly, Levi Wallace is like a 4.65 guy in the 40, and that was when he ran it when he was younger. Now he's 29, so if you could somehow line Pierce up on him, that is a huge mismatch. And you throw in the fact that Vance Joseph plays a ton of cover 1, I think you could get some matchups in this game where if you can get, Adonai, A.D. Mitchell behind these guys, or Alec Pierce, they could make game-changing plays, because this defense plays aggressive, and it plays a lot of cover 1. And that cover 1 against us, with the quarterback that we have and the arm that he has, could turn into big plays. And they're not, as far as they allow a lot of passing yards. I think they're 20th in that, but they don't allow a lot of run yards. So the matchup on paper doesn't look great, but when you look further into it, what does AR do well? Throw the ball deep. What does Pierce do well? Get deep. So I do think there's a chance for some big plays in this game, and that's what makes this matchup so exciting, because there's so many different things about it, and it's all on how you look at it. I'm sure they're looking at it from their side. Well, if we shut down the run, we win the game. But maybe it's not that simple. Maybe it is not that simple. So that's the personnel groupings for the offense, defense. Their kicker is pretty good. Like I mentioned, Mims is good on returns. Our old friend Tremont Smith is decent on kickoff returns. So that gives you a pretty good rundown of the team and their personnel. They have a +3 turnover margin, so pretty close to even. One thing I did notice, and I just checked on this, they are 7-0 with the lead going into the fourth quarter, and they are 1-5 when they are behind going into the fourth quarter. So hopefully the Colts can have a lead going into the fourth quarter, because because the fourth quarter the Colts score more points than anybody. That's their quarter. So they've just got to be able to stay in this game, stay close, not fall behind and start chasing, because it's so difficult, especially in Denver, the air, the thin air, all that, and you're chasing. You don't want to get in that position in that stadium when it gets loud. It's it's one of the louder stadiums in the league. You got to stay within striking distance. That's why once I get into my keys to the game, you'll understand why, starting fast is the first one. But, I like where we're at. I like the fact that Downs is coming back. It's now or never, guys. So they're going to have to play their best game, in my opinion, because this is a playoff caliber team. The Broncos are that good. The quarterback has played that well. They are capable of beating teams. because they are very well coached and they play hard for 60 minutes, and there's a system in place on both sides of the ball that they run very well, and they have an identity on both sides of the ball. So getting into my keys to this game, the offensive keys: start fast and take the crowd out of the game. That will make our life so much easier, especially our quarterback and our offensive line. When you get into a situation when you're playing in that place, and we've seen it before with Peyton or Andrew or whoever, not necessarily the last game we played there, because that was one of the worst football games I've ever seen, and the crowd was probably distraught watching that game, the 1-22. But the games before that, when we fallen behind, it's tough, man. It is tough. I mean, I remember, I think it was in 16, was it? Where Luck, we played there like the opening game, or maybe it was the second game, when we came all the way back and we had the ball. I think we were down by 4, and Luck threw a pick that got intercepted because the crowd, we was on the left side, so the crowd was really, really loud in that end, and they turned the ball over. The crowd can make a difference. So taking them out of this game is huge, and doing that, the way you do that is you score early, get a 3-and-out, get the ball back, and take the crowd out of the game. And that's, to me, the most important part of starting this game. Now, the second key seems obvious, but it needs to be said because it hasn't really happened. Players around our quarterback must step up. That means catching the ball, running the right routes, knowing what you're supposed to do, not getting penalties, just playing complimentary football and being there for your teammate. They have not done that. They have not done that consistently for him. It has to happen this week. When he puts a ball on the money, you got to catch it. No excuses. When you run the wrong route, you shouldn't be in the game. You can't have that happen. You can't run the wrong route in a game like this. Everything has to be, you have to be locked in. And when you're doing stuff like that, you're not. So this is a huge key for me, because I feel like a lot is being put on AR's shoulders because of the mistakes that other people are making. You can't fumble the ball. You can't, you just have to play a clean game, which leads me to my third and final point. Play a clean game. No turnovers. Limit the penalties. Run the right routes. Catch the ball when it's thrown to you. When there's nothing there, run and slide. Just play a smart, clean game for 60 minutes. Don't turn the ball over. Again, this team feeds off of that. Play smart, play physical, play technically sound football, and focus on one play at a time and doing your job. Nothing more, nothing less, for as long as it takes. If you do that, you're going to be in this game. If you do those three things, you're going to be in this game. Defensively, it's going to sound like repetitive, but play fundamentally sound for 4 quarters. No, miscommunications, no missed tackles, no, not covering the right guy, no, not getting deep enough drops to cover the tight end. No, fundamentally sound, wrap up, tackle, play smart, no dumb penalties, nothing like laying on the guy at the end of the game in the Jets, that EJ got, or was that, and then I think we got another stupid penalty against New England. Don't just no dumb penalties. Again, it's a team-wide thing. Play fundamentally sound, physical for 60 minutes, one play at a time. Just concentrate on that one play and move to the next one. Don't worry about the past and just keep playing no matter what. It's super important for this team to not make mistakes and just play their game and play to a high standard. And that only can be done through the process of one play at a time. 2, this is just something I hope they do. I don't know if it'll happen, but for me, when you go against a guy that's only been sacked 19 times and he's really good at getting the ball out on time, the first thing I'm doing is I'm rolling my outside corners up and pressing at the line of scrimmage, because that at least takes the receiver some time to get off of that, which adds a little bit of time to your ability to get to Nix. If you can pressure Nix, he's not great against pressure. You can get turnovers. So my second key is pressing the wide receivers at the line of scrimmage. Make Nix hold the ball just a bit longer. Doesn't have to be sacks, but you got to get some pressure on him to force him to get rid of the ball. If you can do that, he will put the ball in harm's way, and when he does, you've got to be able to take advantage of that. So that would be my first adjustment. I would certainly, I would love to see an aggressive, mixed, disguised defense where you're, maybe bringing different blitzes. I would love to see Kenny off the corner, like just different things that they haven't prepared for or seen. So hopefully Gus has some stuff dialed up, but it starts because I'm tired of the 10-yard cushion defense. If he comes out and we're in the 10-yard cushion, we're going to get cooked. He is going to eviscerate this defense because that's how he plays. That's the style he plays. I'm talking about Nix. It's 1-2, get rid of the ball. 1-2-3, get rid of the ball. Whatever. So that's number 2 for me, is playing aggressive at the line of scrimmage. Obviously, you're going to have to win your one-on-one battles with that offensive line, which is not going to be easy. But we got good players too. So we should be able to win our share of battles there and get to that quarterback. So it's all about the line of scrimmage in this game, both of them, and the Colts have to win both lines of scrimmage. So, and for me, as crazy as it sounds, that starts with pressing outside. Now, my final key is make difference-making plays. So when there's a ball on the ground, hustle. Hustle for 60 minutes. You never know when a ball is going to pop loose, and you want to have a Colt helmet around it. So you're always going to be running to the ball, running to the play, and attacking and trying to get the ball out. And when there's plays to be there to be made, you have to make them. You have to have it in this game. Whether it's a fumble or a bad throw where you're there, you got to catch it, make sure you secure it. That's all that matters. The ball's the most important thing. The Colts have got to force some turnovers in this football game. They've done a good job all year. I think the key, and the Broncos, if they turn the ball over 2 or more times, I think they've only won 1 game. So, and I think that was against like Carolina. But the point is, they have, and they will turn the ball over. You've got to be there to take advantage of it. And I think if the Colts do that, they're going to have a really good chance to win this football game. So those are my thoughts on this matchup. I think it's going to be a fun one. I think, the coaching matchup will be interesting with Peyton and Steichen. I hope Shane really, is patient with the team as far as offensively in the run game. But I also hope that he attacks Levi Wallace, because he is a major issue for that Broncos defense. I don't know if they're going to roll coverage to that guy, but he got cooked in that Cleveland game, and we have the receivers that can continue that cooking because he's just not fast enough to run with our guys. And it's a lot of cover one, so they're going to be on an island. So that's what, that to me, like that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at, can we make big plays? Can AR get the ball? When he does get the ball there, can they catch the ball, do something with it? And I'm really thinking it's going to be Pierce and AD, the 2 guys that I think are going to have the best chance to make game-changing plays in this game. But yeah, we're going to have to do a little bit more getting the ball to the back out of the backfield and just be a little bit more creative in our offensive set and mindset going into this game, and maybe show some different things that we haven't shown all year. But again, key to this game for me, you got to start fast. If you start slow and fall behind in this game, I don't know if you ever get back in it. But we'll see what happens. That's why they play the games. The Broncos are a 5-point favorite, I think. Obviously, they're at home, so I'd much rather this game be in Indy. Unfortunately, it's not, so it's in Denver. And just based off what I've seen from the Colts, I just don't think they're good enough to win this game, as sad as that is. I want them to win very badly, but I just think there's so many issues, especially defensively with this team. And, the offense is starting to cook, but the defense just, I don't know what I'm looking at. Like, the New England game was scary bad in my opinion, just terrible. So if you thought that, and that was against a bad offensive line, this is a good offensive line with better skill players, a better quarterback in my opinion at this stage in the system he's in. I think this is a game the Broncos win. I think the Colts will stay in it till late, but in the end, I think the Broncos win this one 27-16. I hope I'm wrong, but if I pick the Colts, you all know what happens. So, but I genuinely do feel like this is an uphill climb for the Colts. I just think it's on the road, young quarterback, hostile environment. It's not a great matchup as far as like the Denver shuts down the run and the Colts love to run. And the Colts haven't really had a lot of games where they've hit big shots down the field other than the fourth quarter of the Jacksonville game. And that's not AR's fault. That's other, people dropping balls and stuff like that. So I hope I'm wrong because I'm excited about this game. I'm excited to be proven wrong. I'm excited to see AR go out there and cook. I'm excited to go out there and see, AD run the right route, get open and catch the ball once, or Alec catch a ball and go 70. I'm excited for all that stuff. But it's just a prediction. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's just based on what I've seen from the Colts. And, this would definitely be the best team that they've beaten on the road. They haven't I don't know, have they beat a good team on the road? Now that I think about it. Tennessee's bad. Who else? The Jets are bad. New England's bad. We've been competitive on the road. I will say that. The Houston loss was close, and we're competitive. I think it will be a competitive game. I think they'll probably score. It'll be like 20-16 or something, or something like that, and they'll score a touchdown late and make the score worse than it actually was. But either way, I think it's going to be a competitive game, an exciting game, and it's certainly a game that Colts can win. It's not like they're playing Detroit here. I thought the Detroit game would take a miracle to win. I don't feel like that with this game. I think we have a chance to win. I just haven't seen the team play well enough to beat this team on the road. Like, I'm just looking at how the Colts have played on the road, and it hasn't been great, especially defensively. And that's my concern. My concern is not the offense. It's more the defense. Because they've got to be able to stop the run against this good offensive line and slow down their receivers and be able to put some level of pressure on Bo Nix, which isn't easy, again, with that offensive line. That's my concern. My biggest concern is not our young quarterback or anything else. It's our defense. It is our linebackers in coverage, our linebackers filling gaps and being able to make plays. It's, winning the line of scrimmage and getting tackles for loss. It's things that we just haven't seen in a few weeks, So they did play fairly well against Detroit for a while, but outside of that, they've been pretty bad. They played, and in the first half of the Jets game, but they were really bad against New England, and so they've got to get it together, man. They have got to get. This is the week they've got to play their best game. The defense has to play their best game. If they do, I think they've got a very good chance to win. If they don't, I just don't see how the Colts win this game. If they play like they did last week, I don't think the Colts can win this game. So I think, honestly, this might sound crazy and hyperbolic, but I think this could be the Gus Bradley game. If they come out and they play well and they win and they end up making the playoffs, he saves his job for another year. If they don't and they play bad, I think this might decide his fate, this game right here. So with that, I'm going to thank you guys for listening. I'm sorry I didn't do a Q&A. I kind of wanted just to take the week off during the off week like everyone else. But I will be back post-game after the Broncos and Colts play on Sunday to wrap up what I'm hoping is a Colts win, because if we win this game, it will change our season and maybe the complete direction of our franchise, as crazy as that sounds. So I am hoping, praying, whatever, that they find a way to upset the Broncos, because, man, if after everything we've been through with this organization over the last 4 years, if they somehow can make the playoffs, I don't even give a shit if it's for one game. With all the nonsense that's going on, I will feel really good about the team, the quarterback going forward, because this has been insanity for like the last 3 years since the Carson Wentz year. So, huge game Sunday, maybe the biggest in Colts history since 2021. Since the last, game we lost that we needed to win to make the playoffs. But anyway, I will be back after the Denver game, guys, hopefully celebrating a win like, all of us hope, and I will talk to you then. Until then, I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I will talk to you Sunday after the game. This has been COLTure Uncut with your host, Jason Spears. I will talk to you guys soon.